If you are over 50 and you still think every kind of apple is automatically healthy, listen carefully. Because one simple detail can turn an apple from a smart daily habit into something that spikes your hunger, drains your energy, and leaves you wondering why your body feels worse instead of better. And yes, it happens to millions of people every single day. Stay with me because in a moment, I'm going to show you the one thing that changes everything about apples, and why most people never see it coming until their digestion, weight, or blood sugar starts acting up. And the biggest mistake people make with apples? I'll explain that in just a moment. Now, when most people hear the word apple, they instantly think healthy. They picture something clean, simple, natural, maybe something they've eaten since childhood. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? But here's the surprising part. That saying only tells half the story. Because after 40, after 50, after 60, your body does not respond to food the same way it used to. Your digestion changes. Your blood sugar can become more sensitive. Your energy becomes easier to crash. And your evening cravings, bloating, and stubborn belly fat often start from small habits you repeat every day without questioning them. This is where it gets dangerous because a lot of people are not actually eating apples. They're eating apple juice, applesauce with added sugar, dried apples, apple snacks, apple desserts, apple-flavored foods, or peeled apples that lost the part that made them so helpful in the first place. So what is the one thing that changes everything? It's not the apple itself. It's the form. That's the secret. Whole apple or processed apple. Skin on or skin off. Chewed slowly or swallowed fast. That one difference can completely change how your body reacts. And once you understand this, you may never look at apples the same way again. Let's start with the first truth. A whole apple is very different from apple juice. This may sound obvious, but most people still overlook it. When you eat a whole apple, you get the fiber. You chew it. It takes time. Your stomach has to work with it. That slows things down. It helps you feel full. And it can keep that natural fruit sugar from hitting your system too fast. But here's the surprising part. The moment that apple becomes juice, the game changes. Now the fiber drops way down. The chewing is gone. The fullness is gone. And the sugar gets into your system much faster. So your body doesn't experience apple juice the same way it experiences a real apple. Not even close. That's why someone can drink a big glass of apple juice in 5 minutes and still feel hungry soon after. Try doing that with 2 whole apples. You probably won't want to. That's the difference. One slows you down, the other slips in fast. And for people over 50, that matters more than ever. Because after 50, stable energy becomes gold. You don't want the sharp rise, then the crash. You don't want the snack attack an hour later. You don't want to feel shaky, sleepy, irritated, or suddenly hungry after what you thought was a healthy choice. Most people don't know this, but the body often responds very differently to food you drink versus food you chew. And that's why the form of the apple changes everything. Now let's go to the second mistake. Taking the skin off. This one is huge. A lot of people peel apples out of habit. Maybe for texture. Maybe for digestion. Maybe because they always have. But here's the surprising part. The peel is where a lot of the fiber and plant compounds are. So when you remove the skin, you remove the part of what helps make the apple helpful in the first place. Now, does that mean a peeled apple is junk food? No, but it does mean it's not the same food anymore. It's less protective, less filling, less helpful for slowing things down in the gut. And when you combine that with age-related changes in blood sugar and appetite control, it can matter more than people think. As we get older, we need more help from our food, not less. More fiber, more fullness, more steady energy. Not food that disappears in 10 bites and leaves us looking for crackers, cookies, or coffee 20 minutes later. And the biggest mistake people make is believing all apples work the same way. They don't. Now, here comes the third truth, and this one surprises almost everyone. What you eat the apple with matters almost as much as the apple itself. This is where it gets dangerous, because many people eat apples in a way that turns a smart food into a blood sugar roller coaster. Think about it: an apple with a pastry, apple slices with caramel dip, apple juice with toast, apple sauce with sweet cereal, dried apples mixed into sugary granola. Now you are stacking sugar on sugar, carb on carb, fast food on fast food. And then people say, "I don't understand. I'm eating fruit." Yes, but fruit is not the problem there. The pattern is. That's what people miss. A whole apple by itself is one thing. A whole apple with a little protein or healthy fat is even better for many people. But an apple that gets turned into dessert or paired with a carb-heavy snack becomes a totally different story. This is why some people say, "I eat healthy, but I still crash every afternoon." If your healthy snack is really just a sugar snack wearing a healthy disguise, your body knows the difference, even if the label doesn't. Now let's talk about dried apples, because this is where a lot of adults get fooled. Dried apples sound healthy, and technically, yes, they come from apples. But here's the surprising part. When water is removed, the fruit shrinks. That means it becomes much easier to eat a lot more, a lot faster. One small bag can disappear in minutes. But if you tried to eat the fresh apple equivalent, you would slow down long before that. This matters because portion control becomes trickier. Your brain sees a small handful. Your body may be getting far more concentrated sugar than you realize. And if there's added sugar on top of that, now you're even further away from the simple apple you thought you were choosing. Most people don't know this, but made from real fruit and works well for your body are not always the same thing, especially after 50. After 50, your body is more honest. It tells the truth faster. If something doesn't work for you, you feel it. In your stomach, in your energy, in your waistline, in your sleep, in your cravings. Now let me tell you a story that might sound familiar. A person wants to eat better. They stop buying candy. They stop drinking soda. They start choosing fruit. Great move. But then the habit becomes apple juice in the morning, sweetened applesauce with lunch, dried apple chips in the afternoon, and apple dessert at night because it feels lighter than cake. On paper, it all sounds healthy. But in the body, it can still create a day full of sugar spikes, hunger, and energy drops. That's why the one thing that changes everything is not whether the food came from fruit. It's whether the fruit still looks and acts like real fruit when it reaches your mouth. That is the real question. And once you start asking that question, food labels lose their power over you. Now let's get even more practical. If you want apples to actually help your body, not confuse it, the best choice for most people is simple. Eat the whole apple. Keep the skin on if your stomach handles it well. Chew it slowly. And if you want even steadier energy, pair it with something like a few nuts, plain yogurt, or a little peanut butter. That combination can make a big difference, because now you're not just eating sweetness, you're building balance. But here's the surprising part. Even a healthy apple can become a problem if you eat it mindlessly. For example, eating apples late at night when you're not really hungry, or eating 2 or 3 in a row because they seem harmless, or using apples to justify more sweet foods later. That's not hunger, that's habit. And after 50, habits show up in the body faster than ever. This is where it gets dangerous, because people often keep repeating a food routine that sounds healthy, but does not make them feel healthy. They feel bloated. They feel hungry too soon. They feel tired after breakfast. They feel their belly getting softer. But because the food is healthy, they never question it. Please hear this clearly. A food can be healthy in general and still not be working well in the way you are eating it. That is one of the biggest lessons of midlife health. It's not just what you eat, it's how. It's how much. It's what form, it's what time. It's what you combine it with. That's what really changes the outcome. Now let's talk about digestion, because many viewers over 50 care deeply about this. A whole apple contains fiber that can support regularity and help you feel fuller. That's great. But if your digestion is already sensitive and you go from eating almost no fiber to suddenly eating lots of raw fruit, your gut may protest at first. Gas, bloating, pressure. That does not always mean apples are bad for you. Sometimes it means your gut needs a slower adjustment. Most people don't know this, but even healthy foods need the right pace. That's why going from 0 fiber to "I'm going to eat 3 apples a day starting tomorrow" is not always the smartest move. A better move is 1 whole apple a day, pay attention to your body, and build from there. That's how real habits stick. That's how health gets better without turning into punishment. And if you find this helpful, consider subscribing, because on this channel we talk about simple foods, hidden mistakes, and the everyday habits that affect your energy, blood pressure, digestion, and overall health after 40 and 50. Now there's one more point that almost nobody talks about: the emotional side of all this. As we get older, we want simple answers. We get tired of confusing diets. We get tired of experts telling us one thing one year and the opposite the next. So when we hear apples are healthy, we want to relax and believe it. And in many ways, that's understandable. But real health after 50 is not about easy slogans. It's about paying attention, not fear. Attention. Because your body is giving you feedback all day. Do you feel satisfied after your snack? Or hungrier? Do you feel calm and steady? Or sleepy and craving more? Does your stomach feel good? Or puffy and irritated? That feedback matters more than marketing, and the biggest mistake people make is ignoring what their body has been trying to say for months. So let's close the loop. Most people think apples are healthy, and yes, a real apple can absolutely be a smart food. But the one thing that changes everything is the form. Whole apple or processed apple. Skin on or stripped down. Chewed slowly or swallowed fast. Natural fruit or fruit-shaped sugar. That is the difference that changes how your body responds. So if you want apples to help you, not hurt you, remember this simple rule: the closer the apple is to its original form, the better it usually works for your body. Choose the whole apple over the juice. Choose the real apple over the sweetened cup. Choose the apple you chew over the one you sip. Choose the apple that fills you, not the one that tricks you into eating more. That is how you turn a common fruit into a genuinely smart habit. Not by following slogans, by understanding what actually changes the result. And once you see that, everything gets clearer. Your snacks get smarter. Your cravings make more sense. Your mornings improve. Your digestion becomes easier to understand, and your health decisions get much simpler. So the next time you reach for anything labeled apple, pause for just 1 second and ask yourself, is this really an apple? Or is it a processed shortcut pretending to be one? That one question may protect your energy, your appetite, and your health more than you think. Because after 50, it's often not the food itself that causes the problem. It's the form you've been eating it in all along.